He said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win. What do you say to that?
It's one thing to throw a jab at a politician, but it's another to torch him live on air. And that's exactly what Bill Maher just did. Maher has never been shy about boosting Gavin Newsom, but this time he made it clear he's had enough of the governor's chaos. On a recent episode of his show, the comedian tore into Newsom's failed leadership in California. The attack wasn't just sharp, it was brutal.
Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, home to 12% of all Americans and 50% of all Mexicans. On the upside, Newsom is the only governor, with the possible exception of Newsom, who looks like they could do porn.
Did Bill Maher really just claim that Gavin Newsom's greatest legacy is looking like he belongs in the adult film industry? That's not a jab. It's a knockout blow from someone who once praised him non-stop. Picture this: the governor of one of America's most powerful states, reduced to being known only for movie star looks fit for an X-rated set. Out of all the achievements Newsom loves to flaunt, Maher cut it down to a punchline. And that says everything about California's collapse under his leadership. When even your biggest supporter roasts you like this, it's clear your political brand is circling the drain.
I don't want to say I don't want to say he really wants to be the guy who steps in if the current nominee goes down, but he gets an alert on his phone every time Biden can't think of a word. The downside is that governor of California is kind of like being conservator for Britney Spears. They'll attack him on California's homeless problem, but there's a response to that. The homeless can live anywhere, but they choose California.
If you are enjoying this takedown, please hit that subscribe button. The truth is, California has practically rolled out the red carpet for the homeless. And who wouldn't take advantage of that? State laws have made it easy, even inviting, creating a place where the homeless aren't just tolerated but openly welcomed. But let's be honest, this isn't compassion, it's chaos. Under Gavin Newsom, homelessness hasn't just risen, it has exploded. Instead of real practical solutions, his policies fuel the problem, turning sidewalks into tent cities and neighborhoods into sprawling camps. And it doesn't end there. His soft approach to crime, siding with offenders over victims, has driven California deeper into lawlessness. Break the law and chances are you'll walk away with nothing more than a slap on the wrist. Homelessness up, crime up, quality of life down. That's the Newsom legacy, plain and simple.
Of course, the knock on Gavin has always been that he's slick. Yeah, you know what? I'm okay with that. I notice slick is something no one has been accusing Biden of lately. Do you want good at talking or don't you? Newsom is the best communicator in the party with a history of standing up to bullies, and his name lends itself to the best slogan since I Like Ike. I'm having Gavin.
At last, Bill Maher is admitting what countless Californians have seen all along. Gavin Newsom is nothing more than a polished act, slick, smooth-talking, and charismatic on the surface, but underneath, empty words. Newsom has perfected the art of speaking endlessly while saying nothing at all. He's the master of political rambling, spinning flashy speeches that dodge tough questions and cover up failure. Yes, he can charm a crowd, but charm doesn't solve exploding homelessness, rising crime, or a collapsing quality of life. He slips out of scandals with rehearsed lines and polished rhetoric. But is that real leadership? Do Californians need a governor who promises the moon and delivers dust? People deserve solutions, not sound bites. And if Maher, once one of his biggest admirers, is finally calling him out, maybe it's time the rest of the country wakes up too.
I was on KBLA yesterday, with my friend Tavis Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, who do you want for running president? I mentioned, I think you'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win.
Anyone with a shred of common sense knows Gavin Newsom doesn't stand a chance at the presidency, not after what he's done to California. His record is a disaster that no slick PR campaign can cover up. Across the state, people are fed up, openly voicing frustration over how far he has dragged California down. Once a hub of innovation, business, and prosperity, the state has become a place companies are fleeing in droves. Major businesses have packed up, taking jobs and opportunities with them, while wealthy individuals are bailing out, unwilling to endure his reckless economic policies. Add in a collapsing middle class and skyrocketing costs of living, and it's no surprise California's exodus is shattering records. And here's the kicker, even many Democrats now say he's gone too far. When voters on the left start calling you too extreme, your national ambitions are already dead on arrival.
Look at the swing states. There's only 8 of them.
Right. Well, I mean, California's an interesting case study, isn't it? It's the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah.
2/3 of the state is very deeply red. We don't need to be lectured on rural politics or border issues. I mean, in so many ways, these are familiar issues, and the issues of the heartland of the United States are very much a part and parcel of the work we're doing in this state. But look, I understand this notion that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things. You can't talk the language. You're not able to communicate, and you're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
No, it's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Here, Bill Maher hits the nail on the head. What's dragging Gavin Newsom down isn't just homelessness or a collapsing economy, it's the endless woke circus he's been cheerleading. Voters across the country are sick of identity politics being shoved into every corner of daily life, and under Newsom, California has become ground zero for it. The state now boasts some of the most over-the-top progressive laws in America, and Maher called out one of the strangest. Any toy store with more than 500 employees must include a gender-neutral department, because in Newsom's California, kids apparently can't just play with toys. They have to make a political statement while doing it, as if we live in a world where gender doesn't even exist. This is the kind of tone-deaf policymaking that makes average voters roll their eyes and say, yeah, this guy could never be president.
Too much government there.
That's an interesting one, because the department stores came to us supporting that, and they were the ones making a case for that. They were making us. They're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself. But I understand how that's exploited, and good people can disagree. But that's not something we woke up and said, this is a top priority for the state, when we know what the top priorities are: homelessness, housing, the issues of crime, quality of life, and issues related to regulation and taxes, which are all top of mind.
And that right there is Gavin Newsom's slick talk in action, the oldest trick in a politician's book. No one's accusing him of being blind to California's problems. Of course he knows them. Everyone does. Homelessness is spiraling out of control. Crime is climbing in major cities. Taxes are sky high. Businesses are fleeing in droves. These aren't hidden issues. They're splashed across the headlines every day. The problem isn't awareness, it's action. Knowing the house is burning doesn't make you a hero. It's grabbing the hose that counts. Yet Newsom hides behind polished speeches and buzzwords, pretending that simply acknowledging problems equals leadership. It doesn't. Words don't build housing, lower crime, or fix a budget. Action does. And California is still waiting.
And good job this year making it rain.
You're welcome.
Because
That was my legislative priority.
It was looking bad there for a while, and we still don't have enough water in the Colorado River and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then whenever I read, 80% of the water goes to agriculture. Almonds.
Right.
No one ever asked you about almonds? Oh, I'm going to ask you about almonds.
Yes, you heard that right. Nearly 80% of California's water is consumed by agriculture, and a massive share of it is poured into growing almonds. Let that sink in. This is a state plagued by droughts, scorched by wildfires nearly every summer, and where residents are constantly told to cut showers short and let their lawns die to save water. Yet behind the curtain, billions of gallons are funneled straight into almond orchards. Why? Because almonds are California's golden cash crop, and big agriculture has the political clout to keep the water water flowing in their direction. So while ordinary Californians are told to ration like it's the end of days, corporate farms are soaking up the state's lifeline. The irony is brutal. In a land of fire and thirst, California's water isn't saving its people. It's growing nuts.
We grow a boatload of
I'm
almonds
well
here.
aware.
You know how much water it takes?
Many gallons.
1,900 gallons to grow a pound of almonds. Come on, man. take on big almond.
Take on big almonds.
I mean, it's not like we don't have the water.
No.
But
You're right about it. It's not that we don't have the water. That said, the last couple of years were tough. I mean, but it's also where the water's falling and we're not capturing it. And we're not capturing in those extreme years with these atmospheric rivers. Wets are getting a lot wetter, dry's drier, hot's getting a lot hotter. And so we've got to modernize our conveyance system. We've got to modernize our storage, not just above ground, but below ground. And so that's a big part of our focus and frame, including desalinization plants. We have 20 projects just on desal that we're working on today. So we put out a detailed water strategy that includes, by the way, getting that Delta Conveyance project back up and operational, and includes the first above ground off stream storage facility in half a century in the state, which, by the way, is being aided by a regulatory package I pushed forward to reduce red tape in the state of California.
When it comes to polished answers, no one outshines Gavin Newsom. The man could sell sand in the desert with that smooth delivery. Every press conference, every interview, he talks like he's reinventing leadership, promising bold solutions to every problem. But strip away the flash, and the reality is far less impressive. He isn't solving the crises Californians face every day. He's perfected the art of political theater. Homelessness is still exploding. Crime grips the cities. Businesses are fleeing under punishing taxes. And yet Newsom keeps insisting California is thriving. It's not progress, it's performance. His greatest skill isn't governance, it's spin. And while speeches might win applause, they don't fix streets, lower costs, or make Californians safer. Words can dazzle, but they can't deliver.
you're good at this.
What?
See, I'm telling you're good at this job. Okay, but here's, I feel like the last couple of years you've purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, the DeSantis. Yeah, but I don't want to live in the Civil War country.
I agree with that.
You know what?
Well,
but you seem like you purposely want to set up this dichotomy between, this is a blue state and that's a red state.
Yeah.
And I don't want to live in that country. I like Florida.
I'm with you. And by the way, I like Florida as well. I like all these states. I completely agree. I don't want to have a state of mind that's a constant fight or flight. We've gone through so much. We've been polarized and traumatized. This has been a tough 5-6 years across the globe, not just in this country. That said, I'm not going to sit back and watch. You made the point just a moment ago in your monologue. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but contraception.
Gavin Newsom is as woke as they come. And if America makes the mistake of handing him power, brace yourself. He'll drag the entire country down just like he has California for the past 8 years. Just look at his record. A once golden state now drowning in homelessness. Businesses fleeing in droves. Sky-high taxes crushing the middle class. And cities ravaged by crime and addiction. California should be the model of prosperity with its wealth, resources, and innovation. Instead, under Newsom, it has become a cautionary tale. He's mastered the art of pushing woke talking points while ignoring the everyday struggles of ordinary citizens. If this is the blueprint he wants to sell to America, then it's a blueprint for decline. Slick speeches won't change the truth. Newsom's leadership is a disaster dressed in designer suits. Strip away the media spin, the polished image, and the empty promises, and the truth about leaders like Obama and Newsom becomes clear. They thrive on charm, illusion, and theatrics, while the real problems, crime, homelessness, borders, and the economy get worse. Obama sold hope but delivered division. Newsom promised a California dream but left the state in ruins. And now some want to give him the keys to the country. America can't afford another illusionist in charge. We need problem solvers, not performers. California was the warning shot, ignore it, and the entire nation pays the price. Strip away the media spin, the polished image and the empty promises, and the truth about leaders like Obama and Newsom becomes painfully clear. They don't thrive on results. They thrive on illusion. Charm, theatrics, and buzzwords are their weapons of choice, while the real problems, crime, homelessness, borders, and the economy spiral further out of control. Obama sold hope but delivered division. Newsom sold the California dream but left the state broken, divided, and drained of its promise. And now, some want to hand him the keys to the country. Imagine a man who couldn't manage one of the richest and most resourceful states in America being elevated to the highest office in the land. If this is what leadership looks like, then the United States would be marching straight into decline. Because what Newsom perfected in California isn't progress, it's performance. And performances don't build safer streets, lower costs, or restore prosperity. They distract, they dazzle, and in the end, they disappoint. America cannot afford another illusionist in power. Not now. Not when families are struggling, communities are unraveling, and trust in leadership is already at an all-time low. We don't need a salesman in designer suits. We don't need empty speeches dressed up as solutions. We need leaders who solve problems, not performers who thrive on applause. California was the warning shot, a glimpse of what happens when rhetoric replaces responsibility. Ignore it, and the price won't just be California's to pay, it will be America's. So, as voters look ahead, they should remember this simple truth. Speeches fade, illusions shatter, but consequences last. Don't hand the spotlight to another actor pretending to be a leader. Choose problem solvers over performers. The future of the nation depends on it. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Thanks for watching, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, stay sharp, stay aware, and stay tuned.